Alright, here's this little thing I made out of a little flat piece of styrofoam. Put some different colored lines on it. Cut a little slot in this thing, stuck it in there. Um, I did have one little problem with it. It did start floating on me at one point, but I went and pushed it back, set a rock on it, and continued on with the test I was doing. Um, Tried not to manipulate anything, but that was my only fault in this that I seen. But I hope you enjoy the video. I'm trying to do something. Okay. Well, actually, this is perfect right here. Let's add the water and see what happens. On this part of the test too, if you don't notice, I actually lifted the back end of the gutter up a little bit higher. So this is actually setting up on the dry part of the gutter. Now when I do add water in it, it will flow both directions still a little bit. But when all the water comes out, that end of it is still pretty much above the water. It's still sitting up, it's dry. And later I can show it to you on the part that I got where I videotaped it with my cell phone. I could show that if people want to see it, but you can obviously see it is sitting above it. Now when I pushed it to the end of my gutter, it was not afloat. So it may float upward a little bit. Because it is a little styrofoam thing I made. But it should float up a little bit. So if somebody sees the floating up a tiny bit, that's why. And yep, I'm not going to touch my camera at all. Alright, notice too, I still had my little red boat, or my little battery terminal fake boat back there at the very end of the gutter, just to keep this from floating off. But at one point here, the wind blows a little bit and it starts floating back towards me, and you'll see me reach in, push it back, and then I find a little rock I can set on it, and I set it on the back side of this, just to hold it down until the water completely drains off. It was kind of funny because I wasn't expecting any breeze to pop up and start blowing it back at me. But you can see right away how, I know this water isn't coming up that high, but you can see how high up this distortion is becoming, how the upward refraction is just causing you to lose focus on the whole lower end of this thing. And again, I expect part of the bottom to definitely be blocked out, but the water in the gutter is not coming up that high. This is just the heat. I'm creating an atmosphere in there, a warm atmosphere just above the water. And that's why at the very top, everything's still in focus, but everything below is really just out of focus, stretched out. And all the information is all mumble jumbled up into, all just mumbled together. So nothing can be, um, pulled out of this. In other words, there's no information that the camera can actually pick up to make heads or tails out of it. Just like our eyes wouldn't be able to, see a boat at such a long distance away. We wouldn't be able to see the bottom of that boat. We'd be able to see the top of it still, won't we? Good example for this. And this was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this test, to show that, there's a certain amount that this starts distorting and obscuring your vision, in many different ways. All right, let's see what more that this brings. And later on in another video, I'll be adding the cold water. The wind's blowing it back towards me. Alright, I actually pushed it back and then put a rock on it. To basically hold her down. I think I put enough water in there. Let's see. Let me feel the water. Yeah, it's warm. Well, it creates a haze, a fog. I don't have the light shining on that back pole as bright as what it was either. Okay, all I'm doing is manipulating the air quality or the weather conditions above the surface of the water while I'm doing this. And this really confirms what we do see over the open water when we're doing live observations. And again, when I have a day of good visibility, and I mean good visibility, I can see boats well over 7 miles away at 27, 28 inches above the water. I know I do a lot of low perspective observations, and when I have the opportunity to get down below that seawall, I do. And again, I've gotten Cutter's Rock at 28 inches above the water at 11.22 miles out. So again, well, what happened here is everything got obscured. Some of the best pictures that I took was of Crystal River Power Plant at 30 inches above the water. And Crystal River Power Plant is 27 miles away, 27 or 28 miles away, one or the other. But I got some really great pictures, and you know, it kind of surprised me that they didn't get as much notification or yeah, just nobody gave it any attention, I guess I should say, which I thought it was some excellent observations at a low perspective, especially for the area of Florida here. Now, as you watch this, you can actually see visibility getting clearer at the top, and as it goes along, you'll start seeing the visibility get better, lower and lower. It's not until I start adding the water and in the next part of this video that you'll start actually seeing the lower portion again. I might try an extreme quick run of cold water, go down at the other end, actually put my hose in front of the little floaty styrofoam boat there with the stripes on it, and try to flush the heated water out. And I'm gonna shut the camera off now and then turn it back on again just as I start this, so I can get a whole amount of time going with this. And I'm wondering if I shouldn't put my no, I'm gonna leave it just like it is. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let it go to the next 3 minutes here, 3.5, 3:19. Again, I wanted to stress that Heath Carmody is actually doing some really good, computer graphics of upward refraction. I see he hardly gets anybody on his live streams, and I also see he doesn't hardly get any views on any of his other videos. But really, if you take a look at what he's got to show, he's showing you exactly what I'm showing you here. But he's just doing it with a computer. I'm doing it with, on a small scale basis, manipulating the water and air temperature, because as I change the water, of course, I'm changing the air temperature just above that water. Even when I add the cold water, there's still some warm air in there, which, it can cause some problems too. But I think this day, because the air temperature was different, even when I added the cold water, it really didn't make a lot of difference. I mean, it cleared everything up, but it didn't change it too bad. It actually just made it good visibility. Okay. A little breeze blowing too, which I'm gonna like that, because prospectively, this object would get bigger as it comes back toward me. But after I add the water in, cold water, I'm gonna try to do one more video with letting the wind blow it back toward me, being that it feels like I'm getting a wind out of the west. Well, that didn't really happen, because the wind totally died out. I was just getting a few little breezes here and there, and when I wanted it to blow, it didn't blow at all. So I actually wound up using a stick and pushing it down. It was kind of funny, because I was kind of hoping it would. But between the styrofoam and the aluminum, man, did it cause a static electric charge, because the styrofoam wanted to go and stick to one side of the gutter, and it didn't. I had to actually push it away to get it to go, and then it stuck to the other side. So, static electricity is something that is definitely even possible out there on the water, that could be causing an effect too, that we don't even know about, or I don't understand. Maybe nobody will understand it. All right, thanks for watching.